Scoop. There we go. Sunday afternoon, team no sleep. Montel, how you doing, brother?
Sir.
Man, hey, let me tell you
Man, good,
something.
good. How
The,
about
the the
yourself?
intro the intro hit a little bit harder. I got some new earphones. That that intro hits a lot better now, and shoot, I
Man,
might put that in the
you getting
car.
all those you getting all those sponsors, man. They taking care of you, man. They making
Uh,
sure you sound good, look good.
Well, we trying to do some things. We trying to do some things. Speaking of sponsors, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Since you're gonna throw it out there, I'll put it on the screen, right? Make sure that people subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that link so you can always know when we go live. But brother, man, you doing all right though? You doing all right?
Man, blessed as usual, man. 10 toes down and 6 foot above. I'm always good.
You need to put that on the T-shirt. God, jug it. I'm gonna I'm gonna put that on the T-shirt, man. We got
Hey,
some
man,
folks
we
chiming in. Yeah,
we there.
I
How
love
about
it.
yourself? How you doing?
Doing the same, brother. Doing the same. You know, it's Sunday. Little housework, working in the garage, and trying to get ready for the show. Didn't do a good job because look, it's been 2.5 weeks, about 2 weeks, right, since we actually came
Hmm.
online and did our show. A lot of things have transpired in the sports world, but don't want to talk about old stuff. Want to always keep it current, keep it relevant. You know, we got a couple of good stories that popped out this
Hmm.
past 7 days, but I'm gonna throw it out there to the audience as well, right? If they've got some stories that they'd like to talk about from the sports perspective, and remember, we're talking about the social impact of sports for folks that are watching as well. So it's not just the scores, it's not just the who's winning, who's losing, that kind of thing, but how sports affects society at all. So shouts out to I see Mom there. I see Mr. Robert Lee over there subscribing. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Tell everybody to subscribe. We trying to get some of that Yahoo. I said Yahoo. Some of that Google money. It shows you how off I am right now, right? I said some of that Yahoo AOL money. Oh my gosh.
It, it's all good, man. I think we're in a situation in sports right now where the COVID starting to. It looks like we're turning the corner, hopefully,
Yeah, yeah.
and starting to try to come back to normal. But I mean, no, we don't. What's the new norm? We don't even know what that's going to be like. And in sports, we see that with COVID, sports impacts our lives a lot more than people realize. That
Hmm.
it's kind of they're very indicative of our economy and our livelihood.
True, true. I mean, so California started to try to open up a little bit. I know a lot of other
Hmm.
states are doing the same thing. More and more folks are getting a shot. More and more folks have both shots. Um, so some of those types of limitations are relaxing a little bit. I'm not sure I'm too pleased with what's happening in Mississippi and Texas. You know, just completely opening up, just full kimono and those kinds of things. I think there's going to be some ramifications to that, but yeah, you know, small percentage of folks can start going to games now, indoor games. Small percentage of folks can actually start attending uh, entertainment events and those types of things. So again, I think by summertime, we will be at a decent point to where you and I can go sit at Kings game maybe and
See
have our
something, yeah.
cowbells in hands, right? You know, and
I truly believe, man. Like you said, I mean, like even the high school aspect, they're starting to open back. They opened up high school athletics again. Even some kids competed in football this past weekend, which
okay,
is great. I don't know. Like you said, I'm kind of on the fence. I'm not necessarily sure if I agree with it or not because at this time we're kind of turning towards the end of the year.
hmm,
Um, do we really have from it?
yeah,
I think we have a lot of a good risk of injury because kids haven't had a chance to prepare or haven't been preparing all year because they haven't been able to have access to the facilities to prepare. So with those being said, I mean, this is kind of going to be kind of a trial and error, I believe, throughout all realms of sports, from little league all the way up to professionals.
yeah. That's
Um,
an interesting point you bring up though, right? Because we as the fans, right? Yeah, we all we care about getting in there, having our hot dog, watching someone score a touchdown, someone make the layup, whatever. But from the athlete's perspective, only the ones that are truly disciplined have been actually putting in the work during
hmm.
this. I'm not gonna call it off season, but during this time when they haven't been in OTAs, right? Well,
Yep.
I'm not sure they call it OTAs for every sport, but you know what I'm saying, organized
Yep.
team
Hmm.
activities. So there's gonna be more cause for injury. There's gonna be more folks
Hmm.
that are a little little slower getting off the line, whatever the case may be. So you work with a lot of youth in
Yeah, and I
terms of
think what
high school. So talk
yeah,
to us about that.
yeah, I just think with a lot of kids, I believe, like you said, you're going to have the ones that were disciplined and be able to work out and be able to have opportunity. Private schools were having the opportunity to still work out and be able to attend school because they kind of didn't fit into the same jurisdiction as public schools.
Mm,
But public school kids really didn't have access unless they had either weights at home or
yeah,
opportunity to go somewhere and work out. They didn't have that. So now they're asking all of them to compete at the same time. Well, that's kind of an unfair advantage to like I said, the people that were in the private schools and had opportunities to work out and do all those and be self-disciplined to things.
yeah,
I believe, yeah, week one, everybody's excited, everybody's gung ho, kids are fired up. But I think week two, fourth to see injuries kind of probably prosper up. I think you'll see kids get fatigued and tired, and I think you'll see a rate of a lot of high collisions with the kids that were in shape, with the kids that are not in shape. I mean, football is a sport you need at least about a month and a half to really get yourself in some decent shape to get ready to go compete at a high level.
yeah,
And as you get tired, as you know, fundamentals start to go away.
yeah,
Um, and football is a sport, like I said, it's a collision sport. It's not like baseball. You get tired, you just start striking out. It's very rare to get hit with the ball.
yeah.
Basketball, if you get tired, you could take a break and go
You
sit
just
on the
don't get back on
sideline.
D fast enough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. On football, you get tired and you're standing there. Somebody hits you and collides you. It could be a lot of ramifications. I'm not wishing injury on anyone. I'm hoping all the kids, definitely protect themselves and play. But that is the reality of it. I mean, and the people are not looking at that part. I think they just so go hungry. They want kids to get out there and just play.
yeah, yeah.
Well, there's a price when you just play. Prepare and play is different, but there's a price when you just want to get them out there and play.
That's true.
So I don't know. I'm not sure how it's all gonna work out. I hope it works out for the best for everyone. I'm happy for the class of 2022. They'll be able to get film to coaches, be able to get a baseline so they can
Yeah,
hopefully get recruited. And I feel sorry for the class of 2021 because unfortunately, at least in the football aspect, the recruiting process is pretty much almost all the way over 99% over. So the guys that don't have an opportunity, I don't know if there'll be new opportunities opening up for them at all.
wow. And that's huge, right? Because again, you think about it. That reel that I used to work with Max Preps,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm sure you probably are familiar with them too, right? Yeah, that highlight tape, that's something that you can send to a scout, send to a school. More than likely, you came into your own as an athlete, junior and senior year, and man,
Mm-hmm.
to not be able to have those moments to where you can maybe write a little bit more of a full scholarship versus a partial scholarship type of a ticket. This school that you really wanted to go to versus another school. I mean, those are the real ramifications, and then those start translating further down the road for families into real dollars and cents. Right,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because again,
Yeah.
the options and the opportunities are starting to be limited, and that's the domino effect of what has happened because of COVID and goes to lockdown, and because people haven't been able to play and do all the things that are associated with it. So
Well, we also got to be real with ourselves in the recruiting prospect. You get recruited off your junior film. I mean, that's mainly what you get recruited off. Senior film is to solidify what you did your junior season. To make sure you are that guy and that you are progressing
that's a good
the way
point.
they
Yeah.
look at you for them to offer you. So 2021 did get junior film in. But we always know there's a layer of kids that needed that senior film to prove that they were prospering and getting good in order for guys to be able to come and recruit them.
Yeah.
The recruiting process is completely different. And then now on top of our class of 2001, and I'll speak California specific, the class of 2021 for football in California is really, they just were the sacrifice lambs. They're not going to get recruited like they were because now that we're so late in the process right now, coaches are going to go into the portal. They're not going to come get high school kids. They didn't leave dollars over from the recruiting deadlines for high school kids. They left those money dollars over for guys that were either transferring out of JC, or now the big thing is the transfer portal is where they're going to get a lot of kids.
Okay.
So with that being said, if you're a high school prospects athlete still looking to get into, especially if you're looking for Division One, that's almost none. That's not existent. Their dollars is pretty much all locked up. For maybe one or two, and that's out of one or two out of 100 some odd schools maybe have something, but very far and few in between. So um, people have to really look at it. I think junior college is going to be something that's going to be a valuable aspect for a lot of kids. I think prep school is going
Hmm.
to be a valuable aspect for kids, and though hopefully it prevents a log jam. But I just see At some point, it's going to be a logjam of talent somewhere trying to get into college, and it's going to be so much of a supply and not enough demand. That's
That's
that's unfortunate.
that's economics, right? There again,
Yeah.
you got all these athletes that were sitting on the side ready to go. But
Mm,
you mentioned something interesting as well, right? Because I think it's a good thing what you mentioned about JCs, right?
mm,
That could be a place for some of these athletes who probably weren't going to be on the starting lineup out there on the field every single time, or maybe even if they were, right? Just another option
mm.
that I'm sure if all of the athletes are considering. I mean, viable opportunity
Yeah.
for great education. Heck, I went to JC for my first 2 years and loved it.
Mm.
But um,
I and I believe JC is that's what that mechanism is there for.
yeah,
It's for kids that needed a situation to be able to still go to school and play and be able to compete at a high level and be able to transcend that over to for a university. Now, the biggest problem I've always had with junior colleges is that I don't think sometimes the best interest of the athlete. They have the best interest for the team being prosperous, but not the athlete. And what I mean by that, they're not checking on them religiously to making sure they're taking the correct classes to
okay,
transfer over.
okay,
They're not doing all those. They're not doing all those things to make sure these kids are academically sound to transfer over because it's not just completing your AA. You have to have 60 transferable units. Listen
yeah,
to me again: 60
yeah,
transferable units. Not
yeah,
an AA only gets you over. I used to think the same thing. If you graduate your AA, hey, you're free to go. That is not the case when it comes to athletics at these universities. You have to have 60 transferable units towards your degree in order to go over to a Division I program. If you're that kind of athlete, it's now that's trickled down to the Division II area. You must have 60 transferable units in over to transfer over. It's not so. I think people starting to get it confused. I'm gonna just go there and I'm gonna get my A and I'm gonna transfer over. No, that's not the case.
yeah. Yeah,
There's so many.
no messing
There's
around,
so many
right?
people
You
get
know,
left behind.
you definitely got to get that get that education in while you're there. You can't
Yeah,
just be
you got to
messing
be on
around.
your on point. Yeah, you got to be on point. So, and a lot of kids we know, JC is that mechanism there for kids that did have troubles in high school for them to get another opportunity. Right. That's kind of the biggest premise of now. It's kind of became a funnel for kids to kind of athletes to kind of get through. Well, now that funnel, NCAA has made it harder in that funnel to come through because let's be honest with you, they still provide themselves as a institution of education first, then athletics. They don't want
Hmm.
just the athlete. They want people. They want scholars. They want guys and people they know that have the aptitude they can able to handle it. And with that being said, hey man, I'm sorry. They trying to weave us out. And what I mean by us, you know what I mean. They trying
Yeah,
to weave us
yeah,
out.
yeah,
They don't want they tired of having those kind of kids there. So they're making it tougher and tougher for us to get into school, especially now that they've eliminated the standard. I mean, they're pretty much going to eliminate the standardized testing because it's been such a big fuss with that.
yeah.
That JC route is going to only get harder and harder to come through. So I know it's an opportunity for 2021 kids, but I'm just letting people know it's gonna be a tough road, man. I mean, they got dealt the wrong hand for 2022 with this COVID stuff, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah,
Athletic wise.
and I'm trying to think, just be devil's advocate. I'm trying to think, what's a way of getting that addressed, right? So yeah, we talk about it here, but how do we level that playing field? How do to use that analogy? But how do we
I
correct
I
that
mean, look,
misstep?
I think let's kind of even digress a little bit. The state of Kentucky's addressed it already. The state of Kentucky is giving all their seniors another year back.
Okay.
Now, how does that work? I don't know
Yeah.
because if you give all those seniors a year back, what happens to the juniors that are now becoming seniors? So now that's log jam with guys that they thought their opportunity was going to come, but now they're not going to play because that senior decided to stay back. So I think they're going to have a whole mess of issues in their hand. How
Man.
does this whole thing be resolved? I don't think it really can. I mean, to be honest with you, I think there's got to be somebody, like there's got to be somebody that's going to be a sacrifice. There has to be a sacrifice into any agenda or anything. There's something that's going to be sacrificed. I think, unfortunately, the class of 2021 in California has been sacrificed.
I got you. Okay.
But
Mm.
because Georgia, Texas, Louisiana, Florida, they all played. So those kids got a fair opportunity to get their name out. Ours, the 2021 class, we don't. But also, California has plenty of junior colleges. We're the state what has a bunch of junior colleges, not
Yeah.
just in your area, but
Quality
throughout the
ones
whole
too.
state.
Quality ones
So
too. Yeah.
yeah, I believe their aspect and their vision was like, hey, even though they were sacrificed, these kids can still go to junior college. then figure out we can go recruit them a year after that. Is that fair or not? No, it's fair. It's not at all. But that's the opportunity and the options that I think they felt. So let them go ahead and do that. The cream will rise to the top, and we'll just pluck those guys from after do 1 or 2 years at junior college.
Man.
So even though it's not fair, it's still an option. You know what I mean? It is what it is at this particular point. But the games going on in high school, it's a really benefit for the class of 2022 and 23. Those guys will be able to get 4 or 5 games of film out there. They'll be able to get it out to coaches and start to build those relationships, and hopefully things kind of work its way out.
Yeah,
and everything can kind of get back to normal.
I'm sure that's going to happen. I mean, and for more of the majority than I think more kids, more athletes are going to have some type. They're just going to get creative, right? They're just going to have to figure out a way of just getting out there, hustling, getting out to the playground or something, and running routes by themselves or running routes, just showing that they got some skills, showing that they just got to get out there and do it. So yeah, we'll see. It's all time will tell, and again, more folks getting shot in the arm, and then we'll get back to somewhat sense of a normalcy. Next story we want to talk about, we kind of already talking about football. I'll go back to that in a minute, but we need to give a little shout out to man that we lost. We lost marvelous Marvin Hagler. Yesterday, I think it was, right? Boxing legend, dead at 66 years old. Young man. So legend in his profession.
Bad man. People in our generation loved him, appreciated what he stood for, I believe, because he was kind of that no nonsense boxer. Guy that kind of stood his ground, was fierce, did the greatest 3-round fight ever between him and Tommy Hearns. Those 3 rounds was the best 3 rounds we've ever probably seen in boxing ever.
Yeah.
Three gladiators going at it. And then he fought Sugar Ray. He didn't duck anybody. Fought Sugar Ray on a split decision, and then he retired. But I think more so, marvelous Marvin Hagler, his background, where he came from, coming from a single family, being homeless, living, taking care of his family, doing the things that he did, and to be able to become and rise in those trying times to become the middleweight champion and sustain it for so long. That just shows you a test how great of a fighter that he was, and probably what's so. Salute to him. Prayers for his family through this strength. And I mean, if anybody's never seen Marvin Hagler fight, I suggest you YouTube him.
Man, you need to YouTube that man.
Yeah, before you guys, I mean, I know there's boxing is not what it used to be like back then, but back then, there was a lot of guys, and you couldn't duck none of them because it was only one championships to go through.
Yeah,
not like they have 15 now. But he fought every duck in his. He wanted him to fight, and he was just a great guy. I mean, that whole era of boxing was, be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean that was, like you said, that was the Sugar Ray time. That was the Tommy Hearns time. That was
Hagler, Aaron Pryor, Boom Boom Mancini, Hector Camacho. I mean, man.
Boom Boom Mancini.
Macho Man Camacho. We had Wilfred Benitez. We had coming up, even the guys that were coming up were the Mark Brelands, the Cesar Chavez's, Roberto Duran's. We had everybody in that era that was boxing that was great.
That's a bad dog too. That's a bad man too. Yeah. That the whole sport seemed to change after that generation, right? After that class, right? Then we got into the Tyson, him out there biting people's faces off. That was a whole different thing. But these guys.
Well, I think money came into division, the different division of belts, because remember we ran into Roy Jones Jr. Had no one to fight. As great as he was, he had no one to fight till the end of his career. What's his name? Executioner. I forgot his name. Breland. Not his name. Bernard Hopkins had no one to fight.
Yep.
Had no one to fight for his era. So I think we ran from that era to where everyone was fighting each other to an era where there was pretty much those guys just dominated the championship strong for so long that everybody then went to the heavyweight division when Mike Tyson, Holyfield, and Lennox Lewis and all them, and we forgot about the great lower level divisions of boxing. And then now it's so segmented off, man. You don't know what belt, who's fighting for what, and who's where, and what divisions there are.
Multiple belts, and folks are getting into MMA while they're boxing. Wait a minute, come on, brother, you can't do both sports at the same time. God,
so it's a money thing now. You know, it's just a money
Yeah.
thing now,
Oh
man.
yeah. Oh yeah.
If I hate to say it, but if Don King was rolling right now, man, he'd be the richest dude in the world, man. He'd pluck these young cats crazy, man.
Don King
Um,
with his crazy hair just standing back there grinning because he know every
yeah,
time someone throws a punch, he cashing checks, right? Every
cash and
time.
checks, man.
Man.
Uh, hey, I mean, he's like the Suge Knight of boxing, right? We don't know what we would have did without him. You know what I'm saying?
That's
He
true.
brought boxing to a whole
Everyone
thing.
knows, he didn't step foot in the ring and throw near punch, but everyone knows
Yep,
who Don King was. Why? Because of his crazy
yep,
hair, or hearing him when he did get on the microphone and do some promoting. But that
yeah.
was a fun era. Yeah, they're out there knocking each other's heads off practically, but that was a fun era of, like you said, gladiators going out there and doing their thing. So yeah,
Yep. Shout out to
Marvin
Marvin,
Hagler.
though, man. Rest in peace, my man. Rest in
Definitely,
peace.
definitely. Uh, let's go back a little bit to football. Some news today. Your boy Drew
Hmm.
Brees. 20 years in the game, dominating, and yeah, he only won one
Hmm.
Super Bowl, but dominating. He said he's gonna retire, not coming back.
Yep.
That's
I I agree. I agree with it. I think it's the perfect move for him
yeah,
and his family. I believe that him staying in New Orleans, he wasn't going to win the Super Bowl in New Orleans,
yeah.
unfortunately.
I was gonna say, yeah, the last 15
Yeah,
years in New
yeah,
Orleans, he did. He
yeah,
man, yeah,
yeah. I mean, they just don't have the team right now, makeup right now, and the cap issues that they're having. I believe. I don't think they were going to be able to add enough pieces for him to be able to compete. I think he was always going to be third fiddle to Tampa Bay now in Green Bay
yeah,
in the NFC to try to get there. And then you have the rise of the Rams and the rise of the Cardinals in Seattle. Those guys are kind of up on their heels,
yeah,
chomping on the bits. I think if he looks at the big picture, it's like, you know what, we're not going to be able to get there. So maybe it's time for me, to retire my legacy and go on. I think he's a true competitor. He's done everything he can do for the game.
yeah.
I mean, he's done, he's proved everyone wrong, all the skeptics because of his size and
Yeah,
all that.
little 4 feet
He
tall.
shattered it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I mean, let's be honest with you. He don't want to suffer no broken ribs again like he did last
True.
year.
Last year he was out. He
He,
was down. Yeah.
yeah, he doesn't want to do all that. I think no more. And I think probably him and his wife and his family probably sat down and was just like, hey, there's nothing more to prove. Maybe it's time to step away. And Drew's gonna be fine, man. I think him and his family do so much for the state of
Yeah.
Louisiana and New Orleans as far as they donate and give money back, philanthropy work they do. I think he'll be able to channel towards that and keep providing and giving back to people. He only had one snafu when he made that politically incorrect remark
Yeah,
about Black
so I was
Lives
gonna ask you
Matter.
about that because again, that's what
Yeah,
we talk
yeah,
about. Yeah, he had a little that
yeah.
was his blemish
Yeah,
right there.
snafu. Yeah, yeah, he had his one blemish with that, but I mean, I think his body of work over time shows he's not a racist guy, man.
Yeah,
The guy's not.
yeah,
He just made a bad comment about the flag and all that stuff
yeah,
and Black Lives Matter. I think he was taken out of content by the reporter. Obviously,
yeah,
and it's under that kind of stuff. They one thing wrong, they hold it against you. They try to hold it
yeah.
against you and
It's
persecute
true.
you. I think he's a good dude, man, all around. I had the pleasure of meeting him once at a camp.
Okay,
Um, Great dude, very personable, gives dap to everybody, gives everybody high fives.
love it.
Doesn't mind having a conversation with anybody. You could be the little 12-year-old that's on the field to the 80-year-old man that's coming out there in a wheelchair. So he's always taking his time to say hi to everybody. So at least my experience is what I've seen and what the things that I know of him in the circles of guys, people that I know. He's a good dude, man, and I wish him and his family the best on his retirement.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you 100%. He's gonna be all right. He's a quality person. Yeah, he had just a little snafu, like I say, a little
Yeah.
flutter there, but again, look at the quality of the man and the whole of the man as opposed to
Mm.
one instance. And again, man, you can't be in New Orleans around all them folks and have a problem because Kamara, all everybody's gonna come up on you if you phony and if you
Yeah.
got a problem. So he definitely and he checked himself pretty quick, right after
Yeah.
that happened. He said,
Yeah.
"Oh man, y'all misheard me, or I said something. I said the wrong, pronoun. And, forgive me."
Yeah.
And he owned it
Mhm.
and moved on from that.
Yeah.
Those four little kids, yeah, you're right. He's got to retire now. 40 some, I think 43 years old. So
Mhm.
he's got a lot more things to do, and he's gonna spend some more time, I guess, with his family, like he was saying. But
Yeah, yeah,
um,
and we know money's not an issue with him. Like I said, if
oh
money's
no,
not an
oh
issue and it's
no,
not a problem, then I think it's time to get on out and go enjoy some life. Enjoy his wife and his family, and
yeah,
his friends, and people don't realize, man, when you're in that sport and in that film, you miss those plays of your daughter in the elementary school. You miss those, your son's first hit at bat. You miss all those different. He's going to have opportunity to enjoy all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you think about his possible replacements? Right, they got Taysom Hill, they got Jameis Winston. Either one of those two kind of spark your. I know Coach Payton is looking at Taysom Hill right now, but so he's got Taysom Hill kind of at the top, but he says I still love me some Jameis. So trying to keep them both lined up for possible replacements. I don't know about Jameis though, man. I don't know.
Man,
I'm worried about Jameis. You know why? Because Jameis, I don't know if he's cleaned up his nutrition. Every time I see Jameis, he out there getting him a 2-piece or something. You remember the whole thing where he was at the chicken spot or something, and he's getting some crab legs, and there was just the whole country. He said some things too. So you got to watch what he said.
I think you got to slice a humble pie though, man. I mean, you got signed, you got dropped to the third string.
Yeah.
Now it shows you, do you love this game and you really want to play it and take your craft seriously, or are you that kid that's you're just so talented that you're here for a paycheck and you're gonna ride the wave until we cut you on off?
Yeah,
and which there's both. I think he'll be able to come in and compete, but I also believe that Drew retiring now realigns what they're gonna do in the draft. Now, do they go get a future? They try to go get a future quarterback. Do you package up a trade deal to go up and get something that you really want, that Sean Payton really wants? I think now it's going to open up some rent to do as far as within draft, open up what they want to do in free agency. Do they want to get a veteran? The quarterbacks they have now, I don't know if they'll be the same going into the season. I'm not sure if Sean Payton is in love with either one of them to be his franchise quarterback.
Yeah, that's true. That's true because he's Payton's definitely a by the rules, real stickler. And again, I just. Maybe he can. I don't want to pass judgment, but I don't know if Jameis is there. He's definitely gifted. He's definitely talented. He definitely can make the long throws. He definitely can move around a little bit in the pocket as well. But I just don't know if he is on that same level. It's that same wavelength as someone like someone like Drew Brees was. 24 hours a day thinking football. Yeah, I want to win. They all want to win.
Yeah.
Professional athletes, no, but you got to be wired a certain way to be. At that next caliber. So I wish them luck. I wish him luck as well. So,
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping he's dialed in. I think it's taking Cam Newton, the great Cam Newton. Look, it's taking him this long just to be dialed in. I got to be dialed in order to be successful in New England. I'm glad he got signed. He just got re-signed a couple of days. He got re-signed again. So I think he'll get a shot too in New England and utilizing that system to be successful. But I think people outside of football, especially outside of professional football, don't realize how focused you got to be successful. And we're asking Jamie Anderson. Let's be honest with you. We're asking a kid that's 22 years old to say, "Hey, go take over the franchise and be super."
Yeah.
I didn't want to time he ran into a lot of big money, right? He just ran into some money. He got the friends. He wanted the hip hop chain. He wanted the cars. He's distracted. He's more distracted than he is being focused on that craft of being football. I think there's that difference maker that people are looking at him. Mahomes, he came into the league same situation, but he was very focused. He knew what it was, but also Mahomes comes from a little bit of money. I believe. I don't think his family was totally in a bad economic situation. So and he's a very humble guy. He doesn't like a lot of things.
True.
He's very methodic. He drives the same car.
That's crazy. But I heard about that. That's one reason I didn't like Mahomes, because I know, man, go spend some of this money, boy. God.
But see, that's not his focus. You got to take your personalities from each one. But I believe Jameson loves the sport and he really wants to be involved and get himself back to that elite level. I think he just got to slice a humble pie, and I think he'll come into camp competing hard.
I hope so. Speaking of money, Dak got his money. So Dak Prescott got his money. Jerry Jones went ahead and cut them checks to the Cowboys franchise quarterback. So we'll see how America's team does. And I'm not rooting for him. I'm a Steelers fan. So,
but you know what, man? I think Jerry Jones gets a bad all the time, but he paid Dak pay on this payment. For what Dak has done for the last been underpaid for the last 4 years, and the fact that Dak's injuries. Let's remember the NBA didn't do that to Isaiah Thomas. Remember in Boston? Remember Isaiah got hurt, and he brought them all the way, and he got hurt. He was out, and then they just cut him.
That's true.
I think Jerry Jones, man, showed a lot of class by saying, you know what, I know he tried to wing him out and wait him out to make sure he dropped that price, but he didn't. So, but I mean,
Well, he's a businessman.
Jerry
Yeah,
Jones someone actually
yeah,
cut a check for the man.
yeah. My challenge with the Cowboys is I think there needs to be two people. I don't think Jones needs to be running GM and needs to be owner. I think he needs to one of these days cut them. Yeah, another analogy. Cut the purse strings, right? But he needs to let someone else step into that role of GM. Go ahead and be the owner, of course. Yeah, you bought it, you
Mm-hmm.
own it. It is your thing, but someone else needs to be that
Man,
intermediary.
you playing with that man? That's that man's
I
play toy.
know,
That's
I
his
know.
play money.
I'm
You
messing.
can't tell him what to do. You can't tell him and Mark Cuban what to do with their play money. They,
I'm messing with his money for his yachts. I know he don't he ain't gonna listen to me. He hadn't picked up he hadn't returned my phone calls. You know, I'm trying to get we
but
trying to
see,
get Jerry Jones on the show. He ain't returned
but
my
see,
calls.
I say the same thing though. Does Jerry need to be out of the loop? But I mean, let's keep it real. 1,000. He was in the loop when Big Three when they had the Aikmans, Emmets,
Yeah,
and Michael Irvins. He was involved in. No
yeah.
one had anything to say at that point because they was winning. Now they kind of went through this transition, and he's a little bit more out there because the team isn't winning as much. Is he doing the wrong thing? I don't think so. Because let's be honest with you, 29 other teams in the league hasn't figured the Da Vinci Code to win the Super Bowl either.
Mm.
So he's not like any other. He's not different from anybody else. He's just the owner, and he's the one that's cutting the check. If I'm cutting millions and millions dollar check, I want to know who I'm getting to. I want to be a little bit involved as well, just to see what's going on and be a little bit more hands on. Sometimes I think he does need to withdraw with some of his comments, but that's just my personal opinion. It's his team; he owns it. He's the one cutting. Man, if you cutting $1 million check, you should have a say so who you cutting $1 million check to. That's the way I feel about it. That's straight business.
He said he hadn't finished the Da Vinci Code yet, and might as well. He got the money. Go ahead and cut them checks, dog. I ain't mad at
Yeah, man. Shoot. Do your thing, Jerry. I'm good with you. I'm all good with you,
man.
bud.
If you want to send one of them checks this way, look, I'll give you the address, guy. Dog, it's 423.
Hey,
Well,
man, I endorsed him for.
for real, for real. Um, Basketball, NBA All Star
Yes,
game
sir.
just happened. Did you
Yep.
watch it?
Yeah, I watched it, but wasn't. I thought it was boring.
I'm
I
about to
thought it
say
was
you was probably
boring.
one of the handful of folks that actually tuned in. I didn't
Yeah, I
watch it.
kind of, I had it. I mean, I should say I watched it. It was on TV. I watched it to watch Dame and Steph do their thing. Shoot from
Yeah,
half court
yeah.
consistently. But I mean, the rest of the game, man. I mean, the NBA needs to really go back to the old format of East versus West, not letting Team LeBron
Not
and Team
captains.
Durant.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I think that's totally that's just not good. I don't like the way that rolls. And then number two, they should have been took a stand and said, I know they got to get their money back. There's no fans. All those rich guys, they those extra couple of millions to do whatever. I know they wanted
Yeah.
to make some money off this and be able to provide that TV money so they can have an All-Star game so they can continue that thing going on. But I believe they could have took a stance and did something else and said, no, we're not going to do it. It's not right for the pandemic. It's not for us to, we're not going to have fans there. Let's give these guys a break and finish out the season strong. And maybe they could have said, you know what? We'll push the All-Star game after the season.
Mm.
We'll have it after the season instead of having it in the middle of the season like we normally do. Let's give them a week. We'll have it after the season. That way, the pandemic would have kind of cleared its way a little bit. More people would have been vaccinated, more people would feel
Mm-hmm.
comfortable, and then you can open up the
Could have
stadium
had
for people
somebody
to
up
come
in there.
see it.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah, could have seen it and said, "Hey, we'll do it after the season. We'll vote now, but the game's going to be after the NBA All Star game, and the guys that don't want to participate, we'll just fill it in with other people." I think they could have been a little bit more creative in planning and doing that. I think that this was the one thing that the NBA rushed, and it looked like it was rushed, and it wasn't a good product.
Yeah, yeah. Normally Silver, Commissioner Silver does some decent things, and he's definitely down for the players, right? He
Hmm.
really respects the voice and the goals and the external things that the players are doing, and he listens to them. But I agree with you, right? I mean, the whole this I'm captain, you captain. Yeah, it's like the old playground days. I mean, okay, but you know what? But when the score is what was it like 180 for one side to
Yeah,
170, that no one's
yeah,
really playing basketball. Everyone, like you said, is just shooting shooting slop,
yeah.
and you there watching the Dame Lillard show and the Steph Curry's. Man, okay, Entertaining.
And
It's
and like I
entertaining.
said, if they would have pushed it to the end of the season, the guys that got eliminated from the playoffs early, yeah, they probably would have wanted to participate. Championship guys probably said no, we don't want to participate.
Yeah.
But what they should have done is, I think now you could have made some twist on it. So the
Oh
winner,
wow.
the winner that's in first place is going to host all some more money. The advantages to some more money. Put a little more flair to it. Obviously give back to the HBCUs. I thought that
Mm-hmm.
was a good twist to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they could have did a lot more. The player. This is the first time Adam Silver's where the players are like, we don't really want to play unless we have to, and he actually made them do something they didn't really have to. He was more on the owner's decision than he was on the player's decision at this time. And I get it, man. It's money.
Right.
The NBA is losing millions and millions of dollars every day because there's no fans.
True. True.
They're just they're living off the TV money right now, and the people need to understand that they're not playing just to play. They're playing on TV because they have obligation to fulfill those
They got
contracts.
contracts to
In
play
order,
as well. Yeah, right. I mean, no one's getting any concessions. No one's buying jerseys. No, you know what I'm saying.
yeah,
No, not many people
all
are
that
betting.
money's
People are
lost.
still
Yeah,
betting, but yeah, I mean, man, they got to do something to
that
keep viable.
that money's being lost. So I believe that All-Star game was like, let's try to make up that money and keep that contract going so we can at least get that money
Yeah.
because that's free money on top of everything. Um, I believe now. I do believe though. I would hope him and the players union would sit down with the owners and say, "Hey, we know this is a loss this year.
Yeah.
We understand that." And if I was collectively as the players, I'd have been like, "Look, we will all take maybe a 3% pay cut this year since we're not doing fans and get that back in their pocket to kind of show, hey, a give and take." I know people don't agree with that or whatnot, but I believe that we're all under one roof, under one team at some point
Mm-hmm.
because we got to keep this thing going on. Owners don't want to give no more extra money, and players want to take everything they
Yeah.
can. I
Yeah.
get it; that's part of the business. But let's give a little bit back to show some good faith. This is, hey, our product's going to be back to normal next year. Let's kind of make sure we still keep the social distancing. We do the things that's right. Let's keep our body because it's been around for them to play again.
Mm-hmm.
God bless us. Really, not been very many injuries in the NBA, but I mean now
True.
they're playing this longer season and everything's kind of going. I would have tried to been just creative to try to have the environment kind of go around. So, I mean, I'm sure Adam Silverman and them guys will sit down at the end of the season and figure some good things out. But the NBA All Star game, two thumbs down. That was whack this year.
Booty. Just terrible,
Yeah,
bro. Just not good at all. And
yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure someone liked it. Kind of reminded me when I tuned in just for a minute. I said, "This remind me of the weekend at the Super Bowl."
You know,
We won't mess with him though. We won't mess with him.
yeah, man. So it is what it is. We go. What we got next, brother, man? What we got next on deck?
I was just gonna talk a little bit about March Madness. We in the middle, right? It's
Oh yeah,
March.
yeah,
Brackets came out.
man.
Teams is trying to do their thing. LSU and Alabama got the jawing at each other. I think it was this morning, right before they kicked off, and so the passions are running high. All these
Hmm.
teams may not make it, but yeah, that
Man,
was a good rivalry to see, even before the tip off, right? LSU and
yeah.
Alabama get to yapping at each other.
I believe, man, this year is going to be interesting because, I mean, if you're a big basketball fan or college basketball fan, I think this is probably one of the most interesting years of college basketball because we got teams in here, man, that are team basketball players. We don't have that one superstar.
Yeah.
Usually you have that one player that just the most dominant player in college basketball, and everybody's riding on him, and he's going to be that person, or you have a collective few around the way. We don't have that no more. It's team. It's actually team basketball that's winning. Gonzaga winning because they play a team basketball. Even when you have Oklahoma State and these other teams that are playing, it's more of a team. It's more of a team environment basketball now that is winning in college. So than that superstar individual.
So
You're
yeah,
not
so
that
I
no
wanted to
more
put
in the
this up
college
while you're
game. So
talking about that, cause that's crazy. So check it out here. Yeah, Gonzaga ranked one,
hmm
Baylor, Illinois. Why am I not on the screen? No, hold on. But yeah, check out this list right here while I'm not on the screen. Dog. There we go.
But look at that. Look at
Little
look at look at
behind
the,
the
look at
little
look at the
behind the
people
scenes
that's
editing.
there.
Pay no attention to the man behind the scenes doing some editing.
Yeah, so I'm all for it, man. Even Jawan Howard at Michigan, the stuff that he's doing. And man, I'm gonna tell you right now, women's basketball tournament is gonna be interesting this year too. They got some quality hoop going on in women's basketball as well as men's basketball this year. And I
Yeah,
don't know if
something
people
good.
want to
Oh, UConn
believe it or not.
always at the top.
UConn's always going to be there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's just gonna happen.
I think you got UConn. So I mean South Carolina with Don Daly over there.
Yeah,
She's been they've been good. It's going to be a lot of people upset. Of course, we're used to seeing the 10 TV and all them, but I believe women's basketball is going to be just as exciting as the men's,
yeah,
as far as the tournament is concerned.
yeah. This is the women's side right here. Let me know. Come on now, UCLA on this downward trend. Come on, they need to get back up. I'm vested in UCLA. Let me see how they're doing on the men's side. Let's see here. Oh my
They've
goodness.
been on more trend here. Yeah,
Oh Lord, they're not
and
even
they're in the
on
top
the
20. They're not even in the
list.
top 25.
Oh man, come on. What's up
No,
with
they're not in
these
the top
fellas?
25.
That's
They
terrible.
should get in the tournament though. They should be in the tournament.
I hope so. Much money as I'm
So
sending
I mean,
UCLA got dog. They better figure something out.
but I think the tournament is so exciting here. I think people it should be, there's no clear cut favorite.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Dukes and the North Carolina. I think North Carolina got in. I'm not quite sure if Duke got, but North Carolina definitely is probably going
No,
to get
didn't
in.
get in.
But
Yeah, there was
yeah,
something something wrong in the matrix this year, brother. Duke
yeah,
couldn't get
man. They,
in.
they they didn't get it. So Duke didn't get in,
Oh
and
my
that's crazy.
God,
Where we haven't had a Duke team in its NCAA
crazy!
tournament, and we got teams like we got Norfolk State, a HBCU, that's in a tournament
My
that people are going to be
goodness,
pulling for.
bro, we're gonna be out
So I
there
mean, it's
step
going to be
shows at halftime and everything.
it, it should be as far as basketball is concerned. Though I think it's going to be a pretty good tournament. I'm glad to see my man Patrick Ewing back in it with Georgetown.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
was last place. They was last place in the Big East, and they ended up winning the tournament, getting an automatic bid. Man,
yeah. That's
it doesn't
nice.
get no better than that.
Yeah,
So
you know how I like stories around sports, and that's a good story. I hope they just keep going. I hope they just go as far as they can go and
yeah,
keep
I'm hoping
talking about it.
I'm hoping to get to the Final Four, do something real
Yeah,
miraculous in the
he-
team. I mean, he got them boys playing some really good ball right now. It's a real good thing for them,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah. Look like we got some folks. Shouts out to the folks over there on Twitch that are watching. You're sending some crazy comments, so I'm not gonna put them on the screen, but definitely good to have our watch hours up on over there on Twitch. So we appreciate you. Keep leaving comments. I'm not gonna put them on the screen, but we feel you. We feeling the love. We feeling the love. What you can
This is
do is
love,
over
man.
there.
No hate.
Yeah, what you
Yeah.
can do again, I'll throw that promo again. What you can do is go over there and go ahead and subscribe to your boy over there on YouTube. Shameless plug. Shameless plug.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, man, ain't nothing
Hey,
wrong with
I'm
that.
just trying to get used to all these buttons and switches that I got right now. Like the mind is moving at 100 miles an hour, trying to produce, try to get the little technology behind the scenes too, and man, I should just talk right and just worry about the content instead of all of the I don't know. Trying to
Yeah,
do too much.
absolutely.
Your boy's trying to do
Oh,
too much.
you know, I want to give a big shout out to Russell Dickens of
Okay.
Clemson. Um, he's an activist at Clemson. I don't know if too many people know about him, but he's a man, and him and his I don't know when I want his team has filed a lawsuit against Clemson for dropping the men's cross country, which I think is phenomenal. And he's based in the lawsuit on six, stating that that you can't cut programs when they're getting financially fund because they're racial motivated because you're cutting a team out that's predominantly African American. Um, and I think that sport that they're trying to cut out and they're trying to do in Clemson, it makes up a good percentage of the African Americans that are males that are on campus. So shout out to that man. I'm glad he's pursuing it, uh, taking this case all the way to federal. The lawsuit's been filed against the state, which they try to hide this. They don't put this out in the background, but they got their issues and problems over there as well, going on. So I hope that man wins his class action suit. Something I'm really having my eye on because I believe if there's something that goes through this or something like that, I would hope to kind of piggyback off of that and have something where we can file something against the Division II programs in the state of California and even some private school programs that drop their football program that caters to the same exact about cutting the mechanism that attracts African American males and makes up a big percentage of African American males on campus.
Love it. Love it.
Good deal, man.
Had to give you the solo shot there, while you was doing their segment.
Man. No, man. I mean, we gotta start addressing those things, man. We gotta
Have
really
to.
start addressing those things because well, we're preaching diversity and inclusion a lot, and it's the buzzwords around, but it just can't be buzzwords. It has to be action behind it. There's no action behind it.
Hmm.
We're in California. We're in one of the most diverse states in the world, in the country, obviously, and we're one of the largest economies. Just our state is one of the largest economies in the world.
Hmm. Hmm.
So our state funding and federal funding we get for these schools, it's isolating, or I should say, it's cutting out mechanisms that attract black males to schools.
Gotcha. Yep.
And that mechanisms out. It is what it is. Athletic attraction to these schools, and you're cutting these programs for what reason? When you're being funded, it was just a story in the LA Times. There's a surplus in the budget. So if there's a surplus in the budget, that means you're not overspending. You're
Yeah.
spending right. Why are we not providing these activities and these tools that attract these men to come to campus to also to become fluent people and getting the education? They'll be fluent people in our community. They're changing their dynamics, and they're changing their generation and well graduate because now they're able to state and our education system that much stronger.
Hmm.
So why has it been cut? It doesn't make any sense. And on the flip side, from your athletic department, football 9 times out of 10 is your biggest moneymaker out of
True.
all your
Yeah.
athletics.
Yeah.
So
True.
why would you cut the number one moneymaker out of your? Granted, it does cost when you have to travel outside the state and all those things, but though that's planning on your AD's part. That's not planning on the sports part. That's planning on your AD's part. He could be smarter the way he does that budgeting. But if that's your number one moneymaker, why would you cut that out?
Yeah.
That makes no sense. You're cutting out the thing that generates. And my thing is, if that's your number one money maker and you cut that out, then it's more than just about making money in the athletics. It has to be something bigger than that. And to me, I hate to say it, but you're trying to cut out a dynamic of not attracting men of color to your campus.
Wow.
And I'm gonna just keep it real.
Yeah.
There's no other solution to it. You can talk about Title IX. You can talk around Title IX about offering non-scholarship. So that eliminates the Title IX issue. You want to talk about travel? Well, okay, let's bring enough teams in the state of California where it's a bus league, so that eliminates the travel costs.
Mm.
Okay, you talk about their answer to it. Addressing just saying we're going to cut it because it's either too expensive or Title IX. Well, we figured a work around. Now, what is your excuse for not bringing it back? Your excuse is either you don't want to increase your enrollment or you don't want to increase your Black, Latino, color enrollment. Because if you that increases that in your school right off the bat. So I'm looking for answers, just like everybody else, and there seems that no one has one for it. And then the other issue they say, well, startup costs. How much does it cost? Let's be honest with you. There's money in every school budget to do it without even having to transfer the cost over to students.
Hmm.
If you're getting 100 extra students, that means you're getting 100. You're getting more federal and state aid because you have
Correct. You
a
get more
hundred
in
additional
tuition.
students
Yeah.
into your student
And
on top of whatever.
it's again, devil's advocate, but I'm in agreement. I just think I wonder what the priority is, right? And what the underlying hesitation is, right? You touched on some things, and yeah, it's always there too, right? The
Mm,
social disparity is always there.
yep.
But that's it's a trip though, because when you think about it, sports more than likely you're gonna have some you're gonna go to get some folks who know how to run and know how to do these
Mm,
things, right? You definitely want to get. Look, again, I'm just throwing that out there, right? And so why would you limit your ability to one make that money, right? Because that's what, as an
yep.
AD, as an athletic director, that's your primary focus, is to have quality sporting, safe,
Mm,
actively attended, all those good pronouns, all those good adjectives, things of that nature. So why would you limit your program by not going out for the most effective, highly skilled, highly trained athletes that are within your region? I I don't
and
know. So
and
again, I don't know.
I'm gonna take it for even the first other. Me and you, James, we both work in the high tech industry. Our biggest dilemma in the high tech industry, they always say, when they're looking for qualified applicants, there's not enough men of color
Right.
qualified applicants just coming out of college. In your company's program, there's not enough applying. And I'm talking about men. I'm not talking about more so women. I'm going to segregate this to men of color. There's not enough men applying because they're not there. Well, if the 10 former schools that used to have football had that, that's 10. That's 1,000 men that are in college that now are eligible to participate in those internship programs. That is 1,000 men that are being educated or going to the route to be completing their education to be able to become new college grads in your company. And in 5 or 6 years, they are considered now professionals in the company where they can open up more doors. So it's not just them going to school and playing football. This is closing a generational gap within the workforce. This is closing a generational gap within our communities of disparity, because now when they go back to the communities, they're actually affluent members of the community to be able to give back, open up doors, and be just mentors and role models to the young people that are coming up, to now to have them go to school. Plus, it gives those schools another avenue of bringing their program, and in the midst of these kids being to have an aptitude to stay in school and play a sport. So I'm right now, when I have this discussion with other people and I talk about it, there is no argument because there's a maneuver around each one to be able to have it apply. Now, if, like I was saying, they want to talk about startup money. Fine. You want to start startup money? Let's start a government bond like they do for everything else, like they do for professional football stadiums. Why can't we do a government bond for us to play college sports?
Put it on the ballot, huh?
If someone told me they someone said, you know what, everyone that owns a house in a business, you got to pay an additional $3 on your property tax this year, or $3 for the next 20 years to make sure we fund college sports within all of our state institutions. That would let them know what I would oppose, and our state would oppose to something like that. So they can't keep saying there's not money to be able to get, there's not avenues to raise money, and there's not ways to have this happen. It's now to have options. So the pressure now is on the ADs and the school administrators to be like, hey, we need to make the decision we want to bring it back, because at the end of the day, all of our young African American men that do want to play and have sports as that mechanism to attract them are now going out of state, except for the Division I elite. A lot of those are going to go to the NFL or whatnot, but that's not enough. Our state is billions, millions and millions of people.
Yeah.
That's only hundreds. If we added Division II, now we added more hundreds to be able to be competitive in our work in our job market. So I'm it's frustrating listening, and
Yeah.
I don't understand why they're not.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to. I would love to chop it up with someone in legislature. I would love to chop it up with someone in administration at any of these levels of education as well, to have that conversation. So, man, I mean, I don't know if we can take the action item, going out trying to find someone who we can you know bend their ear a little bit, because now is the time. And, well, it's always been the time, but now would be a great
Now,
time to have
yeah,
that discussion, since we got the platform going, and just really get an insider's view. Yeah, because we can talk third person removed all we want to, and kind of
yep,
like you were saying, you're not getting the answers though, right? When we talk amongst our
yeah,
circles, do the Monday morning quarterback type of thing, man. We need to find someone inside who can actually pull
yeah.
some of those right strings and actually have the conversation. So, um,
Yeah. And I will give a shout out to the Cal State San Marcos. Had conversations with them.
okay,
They are exploring how they can bring it back. Um, we're still in the negotiate. I'm not. I shouldn't even say we're negotiation. We just brought it up and it sparked the idea with them to say, hey, this is a possibility. But I do want to give them the shot because at least they're open to listening a little bit here and there. But I mean, it needs to be our broader audience to be able to jump
yeah.
on board and be able to hear those types of things. But I mean, this kind of segments me into our next segment.
Uh oh.
Master P
What's
wants
what you talking about? Him and
to
Baron
have an
Davis? What you
HBCU.
talking about? Reebok? What you want to talk about?
No, they wanted to. He wants to start an HBCU.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. That's
So
big time. That's big
remember,
time,
remember,
boy.
remember, we discussed it offline.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great for him to start an HBCU in the state of
Yo,
California?
yo. Next thing
You
you
know,
know.
you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know if he heard mine through the waves,
Oh, he
whatever. But I
heard.
mean,
I'm sure he heard you somewhere. That no, he.
but I mean, I don't know where he plans to start it. I don't know what he plans to do or how he plans to ground. But I mean, if anybody's listening, I hope Master P, if he's going to start an HBCU, I hope he starts it in the state of California, because we could definitely use. We have such a rich history of historical Black people in our state. You know, all the way from back in the day to the Black Panthers
Yeah.
to everything that goes. And we have such a rich history. This will be a really an ideal place to have an HBCU, to be able to one learn from and be able to compete athletically and socially and economically and so on and so on. I believe that would be a great thing. So shout out to Master P, man, for him doing this thing.
For
Not
real.
the greatest fan of his music, but the brother's doing big things. I gotta give it to him.
Yeah, I'm over here looking to see he's kind of keeping it close to the vest in terms of where, or he hasn't got that figured out
Hmm.
where he's going to do it, or does he just take one over, kind of thing, right? Once
Yeah,
an existing one, but yeah, that's big time right there, right? That's
that's
putting
big
money
time.
where your mouth is, and that's having wealth money, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Again,
That's changing. That's changing the game for real, man. I
yeah,
mean, like we talked about it, man. You talked about it on offline before, how it would be so important to be able to have that in California, and be able to build build that kind of staple in that building ground here.
yeah,
Because let's be honest, kids west of the Mississippi, we don't have the ability to have the experience of an HBCU. They're all
exactly.
down south or they're all on the East
On the
Coast.
East
We don't have
Coast,
that
yep,
ability
yep,
to experience that. It would be great if Master P would bring that to the West Coast, where kids from Washington, Idaho, Oregon, and California can all get an experience of an
yeah.
HBCU right here on our ground and our soil over here as well, to be able to teach all those dynamics, man. So I hope he considers California or Nevada or somewhere on the West Coast as a landing ground to have his HBCU
Mhm.
and be able to provide that plight, man. I think that'll speak volumes,
I,
a lot of
I almost
volumes.
think that he will, right? He's got the right folks around him, right? That and he's
Hmm.
making some really good business decisions, and I think he will see uh, the historical significance, right, of doing something. It's already pretty saturated on like I say in the Midwest, Central, and East. Bring some of that over here, right? Bring some of that to the left side,
Bring
and,
some over
and
here,
really
man.
bring that
Man,
that
I'm.
whole that whole tidal wave of culture with it. So
Hmm.
again, I think he's got the right folks around him, and we'll see
Yeah,
how that works out. We'll keep watching that story. Yeah, but
absolutely,
yeah,
man.
bring one to
That's a feel.
California. Bring
Oh,
one to Northern
yeah,
California.
yeah. I hope him. I mean, I really do. I hope him and LeBron and those. I hope he gets together with those guys,
Yeah,
and then they figure out. We know the bricks and mortar is going to cost a lot of money.
yeah,
that's hundreds of millions of dollars.
yeah,
Granted they have it, but I mean that's also a big investment for somebody to put into anything. I'm hoping they're able to have a plan where they can have the bricks and mortar and have a nice sound campus somewhere in the state of California to be able to provide that experience. Because I believe if anyone that hasn't seen the show or they haven't seen HBCU band or
man.
something like
Well,
that,
you
I
heard me
think
say
that
about the step show, right? Yeah, yeah. And at
yeah, yeah,
halftime,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
not
man.
everyone probably understood what I was saying.
Yeah, yeah. I think those are experiences that our young people on the West Coast should have an opportunity
Yeah,
to
yeah,
choose to be explored or not. But I mean, to have that choice where they don't have to, leave their family their family support system to go way down south, to leave their family support to go back east. I think if we had something right here on the West
yeah.
Coast,
That's
man, I think
huge.
it would make a huge difference in education wise, and so on and so on, man. I think Master P's he's doing the right thing, man. I mean, he's giving back in all the right ways as of right now. So shout out to that cat and his whole camp.
I
They're
love
doing
it,
it. They're
man.
doing
I
it big.
love it, man. I think that's a good way to end, man. That's a good story, right? I mean, I think we come back in the next week or so, and hopefully we'll say, yeah, we throwing shovels in the dirt in Bakersfield or something. With I don't know, man. What you got going
I'll
on
be
this
there,
week, brother?
man. I help dig myself, brother. Man. I help
Yeah,
dig
I'll be
myself.
out there with a backhoe and a couple of shovels. I got some young teenage kids, so I can put them to work too.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. Me got going on, man. Nothing, high school football.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead and enjoy my son's senior season, obviously, and playing, kind of getting a few games in and knock the rust off before he attends college. Shout out to Southwest Minnesota State. That's where he's going to be attending.
love it.
So, blessed to be able to do that situation. Guys, man, I've been kind of formulating how I'm going to again tackle this new thing. Bring some more attention to the masses for them to be able to understand what's going on, instead of it being an expense, being more of an investment in our people.
Mm,
Period. And what I mean by people is young men coming to your campus. I think they need to look at it as more of an investment from now on, and
yeah,
not like I said, not an expense. I'm hoping companies to get involved, and man, just keep myself down to the grind, man. To till next year, talking have my own All-Star game back in full and all that other good stuff.
I love it. That's the
How about
that's the
yourself?
hustle right there, and I'm kind of with you, man. I'm feeling the hustle, feeling the thing. I just am real excited of what we're doing here of uh, utilizing these platforms to push messages and push messages again besides talking just sports scores, but talking about the social impact. So we're having some of those awkward conversations that you typically don't have, but need to have,
Yep.
and to raise awareness, to have those conversations, talk about legislation, talk about administration, talk about uh, financial aspects as well, equality. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm focused on, man. I'm passionate about just making sure that we continue to grow this platform, and folks that are listening, watching, and all that, continue to share, continue to contribute, and give us ideas. Right, we're gonna come with the latest and greatest for that week, throw our own flavor around it, but keep us honest as well, man. Right? I mean, we live and thrive by your contributions as well. But other than that, I'm probably gonna go hit the gym tonight. I haven't been in so long. I almost forgot where it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go with my mask on and everything, but or maybe I'll just get on my bike and ride around the block or something. I don't know.
Yeah, man. I'm saying, man. I gotta
Yeah, I'm
keep,
probably
keep
just
I
doing
gotta
all that.
I gotta keep them billies on up, man. But otherwise, man, just like I said, man, keep those 10 toes to the ground and 6 feet above. We'll be all right, man. We'll be
I love it, brother. I appreciate you, man. Have a good rest of your week, and I will holler at you in a couple of days.
absolutely.
Later, brother.